Welcome to my channel, where there are interesting and equally sensational stories. Listen to today's story. What prompts us to stay and what prompts us to leave? What are those moments? Today on our space, the light bulb comes on and we can finally see everything for what it truly is. Up first, the old ball and chain. I see her for a divorce tomorrow. I've tried hard to make this work, but I can't do it anymore. Unless she does something huge to show her committal to our marriage, I will start the divorce process. It all started 1.5 years ago. She has been a housewife for a decade. She wanted to pay off our house faster, so she got a job delivering pizzas. She was open about everything that happened there. It was a small pizzeria, so I met her coworkers. She had them over for dinner. Last year, she talked me to letting one of them rent a room from us. She would make extra money. He would live in a better place. I knew him. It seemed like a win-win. I didn't think it would be a problem because my wife had shown herself to be trustworthy across our whole marriage, all 17 years of it. She's also nearing 50 and he's in his late 20s. He also, as an immigrant, saving up to bring his wife over. After 5 months, my wife suddenly moved out of the bedroom. She was sleeping in our spare room. That itself isn't suspicious. We prefer sleeping in different temperatures, and my work shifts have me sleeping at odd hours. So we've slept in different rooms before. After a few days, I came home for lunch. My wife sat me down and said we need to talk. She told me that during the morning, our daughter, 12 years old, caught them kissing in the kitchen. I asked her if she had slept with him. She said yes. I told her I loved her very much and that there's something important in our marriage if we've been together for 17 years. She agreed to go to counseling with me. He moved out immediately and we started marriage counseling. She hated it and cried hysterically after each session. The counselor seemed off and didn't seem to understand what she was doing. I switched to a different counselor, and he was great. But my wife refused to have more counseling. She hated the first one and refused to give someone else a try. So I attended alone with the other 1.5 times. The whole time, she refused to quit her job. I asked her, explaining that I'm not jealous or suspicious. I just fear continuing to work with him will prevent us from reconnecting and healing. She got angry and refused. She wants to her phone at me, telling me to check her text history if I don't trust her. She never quit. After a few months, whenever seemed to move on or get back together, a cloud seemed to hang over us, and I lived constantly with the uncertainty of our future. With my counselor's help, I kept proposing ideas to help us heal. One was to go on a vacation with just the two of us. She refused. By November, I was thinking I might have exhausted all my options to heal. Me and my counselor agreed we couldn't do more together. I think he was hinting I should divorce. My father suggested to wait until after Christmas so I wouldn't put a dark cloud over the holiday. While this was happening, I snooped through her dresser in the spare room where she was sleeping. I found a small stash of lingerie. It's not new, but she specifically moved it there. For the past few years, she hated wearing lingerie. I kept an eye on it and it never moved. The exact position of each bra and panty was the same, so I'm confident she didn't even move it. I also snooped through her text history and didn't see anything suspicious. I kept an eye on it. It stayed motionless so long. I almost stopped checking it. At the end of November, she left for some errands. I decided to check her dresser and saw the lingerie was missing. Sometime after she returned, I checked the dresser and the lingerie was back. Around this time, I checked her text messages. Her entire history with him has been deleted. She didn't delete anyone else's. November to December. I thought a lot about divorce. I knew it was likely, but I wanted to make sure I didn't do the wrong thing. We have a daughter. We get along so well, and it will be hard to meet someone with her traits again. 17 years. Maybe I was just working up the courage to leave her. At New Year's, the other man went back to his home country. She drove him to the airport and kept his car here. A few days later, she told me she thinks he wasn't actually on vacation but to stay. She told me suspicious things, he said, but as she talked, the things became strong and more obvious. So obvious. It looked like she knew he was staying, but was baking, just figuring it out. I checked her phone again and she had redeleted her entire text history with him again. This week, she said his wife found out about the affair. My wife had tried communicating with him, and his wife told her never to contact him again. I offered to email him to arrange disposal of his car, but she ignored me. Yesterday, she told me she had tried multiple times to contact him and his wife texted and emailed her angry words and emojis. She doesn't seem to get it that she should stop. That was the final push for me. Not only does she not respect me, she doesn't respect his wife either. She seems to have no intention to stop her relationship with him, and he has done some highly suspicious things. I'm done. Not only have I tried everything to try and fix our marriage, not only have I been trying so hard to be a good husband before the affair, cleaning, help with our child, fixing things touching without sex, and more. But I'm also done feeling this way. I felt shock and fear. I frequently break out crying. I can never understand why she would cheat, keep cheating, hide things, and not try like hell to fix something she does value. I often break out shouting, "Why did you do it? Or why can't you just love me?" I'm sick of feeling this way. At one point, I consider just staying in the marriage without sex or love because there's so much good in our relationship, and we still get along really well, but have come to see that I'll never move on if I live with her. The misery is invisible, but ever present. I have to divorce to move on. I can't keep living with this anxiety and uncertainty. It's selfish and wrong of her to put me in this position. I want out. At least I've accomplished one thing, knowing I've done everything I can to save this one wonderful marriage. I thought of divorce once she confessed, but I didn't want to regret it years later. Now, I don't think I will. Update January 15th. The next day, I talked with her about divorce. I told her I love her and always will, but that I can't keep living the way I've been. We're not healing, and after this much time, I don't think we will. I said we need to end our marriage. She agreed. She said she doesn't feel like we're healing either. She said that she's not getting an emotional connection that she needs, and that it's something that she struggled with for a long time, long before she met her affair partner. To be honest, something felt off for a long time. I had tried harder to be a good husband, but by myself, it wasn't enough. She has no idea what I'm not giving her. I think she really could have benefited from counseling and maybe CBT. It's possible I'm giving her everything she needs, but she just has some dysfunctional mindsets that are keeping her dissatisfied with life, which then interferes with her from having a happy relationship. I'm certain therapy would have helped, but it's too late for that now. A few years ago, I tried to get her counseling, but she refused. We talked about where to go from here. We don't have fixed plans yet. But we're thinking of leaving her the house and I keep her savings. Those are roughly equal to her home equity. I propose 50-50 parenting time with our daughter, and she didn't object. However, I will have to consider how that could be affected by my work schedule. I work both days nights, although she's a nearly 13-year-old with no special needs. Should be able to get up in the morning and go to school without my help. It's really only the mornings that I won't be able to see her. I'll have to pay child support. It's mandated by the government based on a formula. We don't have any discretion. My wife says she understands she's the one who caused this, so she will not press for spousal support. That's huge. I'm grateful for that. I make good money, but child support plus meaningful spousal support would seriously hurt my livelihood. I haven't broached the subject of my pension yet, but in light of everything else, I'm optimistic. We don't have details or commitments yet, but it's only a day into our decision. We will need time to work out the details, meet a lawyer, and get the process moving. This is hard, but so much better that it's amicable. A lot of you guys are supposed to hate for her and push me to do things like surprise her with paperwork, try for full custody of our daughter, etc. You read about something awful, then get a justice boner at the thought of her getting punished. I get it. She did something terrible. But going to war isn't going to make things better. I simply have no chance at full custody or keeping all the assets. A legal battle will cost tens of 1,000 to only end up but the deal that's worse than what she's offering me. Then there's months to years of stress, anger, and conflict that would hurt our child above all. And the only ones who would come up better would be the lawyers. Screw lawyers. Also, I would just rather not be angry. I just feel better being at peace. With our child, we'll have to work together even after divorce, so I might as well get along. I've seen plenty of other people constantly quarrel over their kids. They're always frustrated, miserable people. I don't want to be like that. I don't feel happy yet. I feel sad, scared, and sometimes sick to my stomach. Sometimes I second-guess that decision, but it's obviously the right one. Divorce may be analogous to ripping off a Band-Aid, but I guess it still feels bad because divorce is a process. On a single instantaneous action. I hope things get better. Edit. January 23. Some users have messaged me for another update. There's not much to add, but here it is. Since deciding to split, she's been looking for new places for me. Seriously. She looks at houses for sale and shows me good ones as if we're moving together. She's been looking for work too. Once she said, "What are we doing?" as if it was crazy for us to split. She asked me if I really want to do this, so I'm getting mixed signals as to whether or not she actually wants to divorce. She also restated that she will not see a therapist. She needs to. I love her still, but I can't live like this. I can reconcile her divorce, but I can't fence it. It's been hanging over me for months. I need to move on from this, and if she's not going to change, then leaving is my only option. No matter how much it hurts, I'm getting a lawyer this week. Last week, I was crazy busy. Hopefully getting legal action moving will help me. At least I know I'm taking control and moving on. What does the community think? His wife, 10, chimes in. Divorce her and get your child out of that awful situation. Is discussing that your wife would let her child catch her cheating and then continue to do it. She's selfish and it's doubtful she'll change. Good luck to you, OP. Please don't stay in a level of marriage. Your child will learn from you and your soon-to-be ex-wife what a relationship should look like. The op replies, "You're right. She's been awful and selfish. Our relationship no longer has love, and I don't think she'll change. I can't believe you've been so patient throughout all of this. You did all you could. You went above and beyond without any reciprocity and yet you still continued. Why? She was done and then for her to toy with you after that and say, 'What are we doing?' No way. She's playing mind games with you. I feel like her daughter is old enough to even see that. I'd be extremely embarrassed for my daughter to see her mother treat her father this way, but at the same time, I can see how your daughter wouldn't see you as a quitter. But are they one the same? Your ex never once put her all into trying to make this relationship work. I think her trying to help you find places to live is just her way of playing the victim to make it seem like she cares so she can still have you wrapped around her finger. I feel like maybe you let her do this to you in the past. She definitely walked all over you and took advantage of her kindness and rational demeanor. She definitely doesn't deserve you or how you're treating her and have treated her throughout this process. She'll never change. She doesn't seem remorseful at all. If she truly was, she would want to work on herself and really address what's going on by going to therapy. What do you think? Next, we can't always see the signs, but when we do, they punch us right in the gut. The most painful sign of infidelity for me. For me, it was seeing him looking at his phone and smiling or giggling. I couldn't remember the last time he did that for me. I actually stopped and looked at him every time he did that. I was in awe, and I thought, oh, yeah. That beautiful smile. So tragic. It's not for me anymore. He caught me looking at him with a smirk on my face. I knew it was over right there. What was the most painful sign for you? Edit. Thanks for all the responses. I wrote this when I was sitting on the floor with my bag trying to get a hotel room to save for the night. This sub has been so helpful in reading all your responses. It's healing. I think the purpose of this post was to convey that something apparently so insignificant like a smile when using a phone can be so telling. Let's get some other input from the community. Libra Trans says trying to justify her affair by telling me how I was dragging her down and that I smelled like death basically. She had to make sure she was there for her newborn niece and that she would see me in another lifetime. Great things to hear while ongoing chemo. She basically used a child to justify cheating on her sick husband. Later I found out her and the affair partner had a pool with some friends betting if I was going to die before or after the divorce. This was the same person who claimed her main flaw was that she loved too much. She went from being the person I loved the most to the person I've been repulsed the most. Healing was about that person now just being a neutral memory of learning. Abusers come into our lives to teach to love ourselves and realize our self-worth. You can either allow them to destroy you by giving them power over you, or you can regain your power by demoting them to just a catalyst towards your best self. Concap 123 says, when she was on the phone with her affair partner in front of me, talking in her stupid code that she thought no one could understand, while I was taking care of her kids. That still pisses me off. The mental gymnastics she went through to justify her actions. Her aggressive lobbying of her kids to turn them against me, who eventually and angrily called her out for being abusive to me. It's truly remarkable how cheaters try and flip the script. Which Ali chimes in. I think the most painful part for me was learning that the sweet, honest, vulnerable heart-open voice and face he used to reassure me were always a lie. That sweet man who looked me in the eyes and said he would never do those things. I was thinking because he loved me and didn't want to hurt me. We're just a cover-up so he could just get back to his online sex fest as soon as I calmed down enough to go to sleep. I believe that face. I brought him my questions and found solace in his answers. I believed he loved me and cared about my heart and our life together. I spent months thinking I was crazy and imagining things because that face couldn't be lying. It wasn't real. I don't know if anything ever was real. Well, I guess my intuition was real. Gustafrida has this to say. Oh, right in the fields, I caught him calling secretly in his parents' kitchen when we were there. I was outside and went for another drink. I could see him in a reflection and I just knew we were over in that exact second. Zealous Ideal Ring 90 has one more thought. Oh, wow, this hurts, yet helps. Yes. I remember this. The fondest prying through her as they share a joke or whatever via phone. The god-dank phones makes it so easy to get lost in somebody else's attentions. Oh, how I hate the phones. In no particular order, here are some other heart-stabbed moments. Realizing that they have a shared owl motif. Owl slipper she got from my work team, an owl umbrella, an owl hat she gave him that I saw on her Amazon purchase list, an owl Christmas tree ornament from work, etc., or taking pictures of an owl when we were on vacation in Maine and immediately sending it on text. Doing laundry and seeing delicates the likes of which I'd never seen before. Her taste in music changing, her beer preferences, her expressions, her sexual preferences, all changing. Just put it all in the rear view. They are complete and utter losers. Ah, yeah. There's so many like these that people choose to ignore. We've all heard it before. The script flipping, the lies, the deceit, the friend from work. I think what matters is that as soon as we see the signs, we practice self-respect immediately because by God, if they can't respect us, someone has to. And that someone is ourselves. It's heartbreaking, it's total murder, but we need to act with self-preservation as much as it to go through. We totally do need to regain our power and take steps towards our best selves. When did you first know it was over? What steps did you take next? Cheer with us below. And thank you for joining us today on our space. Like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on our next video. We'd hate for you to miss out. Oh, and if you want to listen to more stories from me, check out our lounge where I feature